Have you ever spent an entire evening replaying one conversation? Maybe someone answered you differently than usual. Maybe you made a mistake at work. Maybe you are waiting for a message trying to understand why the other person has not replied. And suddenly, your mind starts creating explanations. Maybe they are angry with me, maybe I said something wrong, maybe everything is about to fall apart. Nothing new has actually happened, but inside your head you have already experienced 10 different versions of the future. That is what makes overthinking so exhausting. The problem is not simply that you are thinking too much. The problem is that your thoughts are moving in circles without producing clarity, a decision, or an action. So today I want to bring together several powerful ideas from Jay Shetty, Leila Hormozi, Shaolin master Shi Heng Yi, and Jennie Allen's book Get Out of Your Head. I have already mentioned this book on Threads. It's short and very easy to read, but anyone who struggles with anxiety will find support and practical advice in it. You do not escape overthinking by discovering the perfect thought. You escape it by changing your relationship with your thoughts. So the first point is to recognize the spiral before trying to solve it. Jennie Allen describes toxic thinking as a downward spiral. A thought appears. I'm not good enough. Nobody really understands me. I'm going to fail. At first, it may be only a thought, but if you repeat it often enough, it begins to feel like a fact. That thought affects what you believe. What you believe affects what you feel. How you feel affects how you behave. And your behavior can eventually create consequences that seem to prove the original thought. For example, you think people don't like you. Because you believe this, you feel insecure. Because you feel insecure, you become quiet or distant. People notice your distance and stop approaching you. And then you tell yourself, "See, I knew nobody liked me." The spiral has completed itself. Jennie Allen summarizes the central message of her book with a powerful reminder. We are in charge of our thoughts. They are not in charge of us. This doesn't mean that you can control every thought that enters your mind. You cannot always stop fear, insecurity, jealousy, or anger from appearing. But you can decide whether a thought deserves your attention. The first practical step is therefore not to argue with the thought. Simply identify it. This is a fear, not a fact. My mind is trying to protect me by imagining every possible danger. Once you name the spiral, you create a small distance between yourself and the thought. You are no longer inside it, you are observing it. Second advice will be, replace or with and. I recently came across an idea from Seth Godin, a well-known author and marketing thinker. Replace but with and. For example, instead of saying, "I want to change, but I am scared," say, "I want to change and I am scared." Fear can exist alongside your desire to move forward. It doesn't have to cancel it. Replace but with and. I want to start and I am afraid. Also, I found other opinion. Leila Hormozi recommends avoiding binary thinking. When we are stressed, we often see only two options. I am succeeding or I am failing. I am confident or I am weak. This plan works or I need to abandon it. This person is good or this person is terrible. But real life is rarely so simple. Leila recommends replacing or with and. I'm scared and I can still take the next step. This attempt failed, and it showed me what needs to change. I'm proud of myself, and I still have a lot to learn. This person hurt me, and they have also done good things. Using and doesn't excuse harmful behavior or prevent you from making difficult decisions. It simply allows two realities to exist at the same time. This is important because overthinking can often appear when we are desperately trying to force a complicated situation into one simple category. Sometimes you do not need to decide whether the entire experience was good or bad. You only need to understand what it taught you and what you are going to do next. Next point from this video will be from Leila Hormozi as well. Another framework she uses is constraint thinking. Most people try to improve 10 things at once. They create a new morning routine, download a productivity app, reorganize their calendar, start exercising, change their diet, and watch another video about motivation. But none of those things may address the real problem. A constraint is the single factor currently limiting your progress. Imagine someone who wants to lose weight. They spend hours researching workouts, supplements, and meal timing, but every evening they react to stress by overeating. Their main constraint is probably not the workout plan. It is the evening pattern connected to stress. The same principle applies to work. You might spend weeks redesigning your website when the real problem is that you are afraid to speak to potential customers. Or you may keep improving your product when the real problem is that nobody understands why they need it. Ask yourself, what is the one problem that, if solved, would make everything else easier? Your mind may resist the answer because the real constraint is often the task you have been avoiding. But 10 small improvements cannot compensate for one major unresolved problem. Clear thinking is not about giving equal attention to everything. It is about finding the next right thing. Next thing what I want to mention here is train your attention instead of fighting your thoughts. Master Shi Heng Yi explains that overthinking can happen in 2 different ways. Sometimes your attention jumps between dozens of thoughts. Work, money, relationships, social media, the future, something embarrassing that happened 5 years ago. At other times, you are trapped inside one thought, turning it over repeatedly without reaching a conclusion. In both cases, you have lost the ability to direct your attention. His practical recommendation is simple. Choose one meditation object. For 5 minutes, place your attention on your breath. Notice the air entering your body. Notice it leaving. When your mind moves somewhere else, and it will, bring it back. You can also use a slow physical movement. The goal is to notice when your attention has wandered and practice bringing it back. That is why mindfulness is not passive. It is attention training. Each time you return to breath, the movement, the conversation, or the task in front of you, you are teaching your mind, I decide where my attention goes. Over time, you become better at noticing when you are physically present but mentally somewhere else. Over the past couple of weeks, I have started doing meditation in the mornings. Sometimes I also do it during the day, especially after a light workout. To be honest, it's not really traditional meditation, it's more like affirmation with soft, relaxing music in the background. I was quite skeptical at first, but I decided to stop judging it before even trying it and simply give myself a new experience. And surprisingly, I really enjoy it. It gives me a few quiet minutes to come back to myself, focus on the new day, and actually feel present in my own life. Your focus can be completely different. You can think about your goals, your body, your emotions, gratitude, or simply your breathing. I think everyone has to find what feels right for them. Of course, it doesn't work perfectly every day. Sometimes I wake up and my thoughts are already moving so fast that I can't relax at all. In the past, I might have thought that I was doing it wrong. Now, I just accept that today is one of those days and try again a little later. Next advice will be from Leila Hormozi. She follows her personal rule. When she is highly emotional, she doesn't make an important decision. Stress makes us sacrifice long-term goals for immediate relief. Anger makes us react quickly and regret it later. Think about how many messages are sent in anger and deleted 5 minutes later. How many relationships are ended during one emotional argument? How many plans are abandoned after one disappointing day? An emotion can contain valuable information, but an emotional peak is rarely the best moment to decide what that information means. Simply give your body time to regulate. Sleep on the decision when possible. Take a walk. Write down what happened. Ask yourself, would I make the same decision if I felt calm? There is also an important difference between panic and a persistent concern. Panic is loud, urgent, and overwhelming. Intuition is often quieter and remains after the emotional wave has passed. Wait until the wave has passed. Then look at the facts. Jay Shetty recommends physically writing down repetitive thoughts. A thought inside your head can feel enormous because it has no clear beginning or end. Jay Shetty also suggests physically releasing the page when the thought no longer serves you. Use writing to reach clarity, and then release what doesn't require further action. You can also reduce mental noise by reducing physical and digital noise. Clear your desk. Close unnecessary browser tabs. Move distracting applications away from your home screen. Jennie Allen writes about noise as something that does more than distract us. She reminds readers, you have a choice, you don't have to spiral out. You may not control every thought, notification, or opinion you encounter, but you can choose what receives repeated access to your mind. Overthinking grows in secrecy. You imagine what someone meant instead of asking them. You rehearse an argument instead of having a calm conversation. You assume that everyone else is doing better because you only see the polished parts of their lives. Sometimes the fastest way out of your head is to speak to another person, not someone who will help you repeat the same complaint for 2 hours, but someone who will listen and then gently ask, what is actually true? What are you going to do next? Have you spoken to the person involved? Jay Shetty makes a similar point. Many of us spend weeks having difficult conversations inside our heads that could be resolved through one respectful conversation in real life. Clarity is often kinder than silence. Saying no politely today is kinder than avoiding someone for 3 weeks. Admitting that you are confused is better than inventing an explanation. Asking for help is often more productive than trying to think your way through everything alone. The final principle. Let the plan work until the evidence says it doesn't. One bad day makes us question the entire plan. One unsuccessful post makes us think that our content strategy is useless. One difficult workout makes us believe we are incapable of becoming consistent. One argument makes us question the entire relationship. But temporary discomfort is not always new information. Sometimes nothing fundamental has changed. It has simply become difficult, slow, or boring. If you were standing from zero today, would you still choose this plan, project, or commitment? If the answer is no, it may be time to change direction. The goal is not to quit whenever something feels difficult. The goal is also not to continue only because you have already invested time. The goal is to make the next decision based on reality. You don't need to believe every thought that appears in your mind. You don't need to solve your entire life tonight. You don't need a perfect plan before taking the next step. Notice the spiral. Separate the pain from story. Replace or with and. Bring your attention back to the present. Wait until you are calm before making an important decision. Write the thought down. Speak to someone. And then choose one action. A thought can enter your mind without receiving permission to control your life. You have a choice. Not over every event. Not over every emotion. Not over every thought that appears. But over what you return to, what you practice, and what you do next.